Okay, so you're here with us because you want to really get to the bottom of things, right? I mean, like, really understand what actually works and what doesn't. And today we're going deep on a topic that a lot of people are curious about. Nutriley Rapid Fat Burner Capsules. We've got this huge 5,000 word review in front of us. It's a real deep dive into everything Nutriley, and our mission today is to break that all down for you so you can figure out if this stuff is even worth your time and money without having to wade through all those details. And the big question we're going to tackle is, can a pill actually help you burn fat faster?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, whenever you see a supplement promising rapid fat burning, it's smart to be at least a little bit skeptical.
Yeah.
But yeah, this review you mentioned really does take a close look at all the claims Nutriley is making. And honestly, it's quite a list.
Yeah, it really is. So according to this review, Nutriley is saying it can do a whole bunch of things. Like, first up, it's supposed to increase fat burning by boosting something called thermogenesis. Basically, that's like turning up the heat in your body to burn more calories. Then there's the appetite suppression claim, which, let's be honest, is a big one for a lot of people. If you're constantly feeling hungry, it's really tough to stick to a diet. On top of that, they're saying it can boost your energy levels and even speed up your metabolism. It's marketed as a natural supplement based on stimulants. They say it's designed for both men and women, and you can buy it online without a prescription. Oh, and of course they're making the claim that it can help you target that stubborn belly fat, the kind that just never seems to go away.
Right, and what's really interesting is how all those claims tie back to the specific ingredients they've put in this formula. The review does a good job of explaining what each ingredient is supposed to do.
So let's break those down. So the main players here, according to Nutriley and this review, are green tea extract. And they specifically talk about something called EGCG. That's the active compound in green tea that's thought to give your metabolism a boost and help your body burn more fat. And of course, green tea is full of antioxidants, which are always a good thing. Then there's Garcinia cambogia, and the key ingredient there is HCA, which some research suggests can help you feel less hungry. And it might even block your body from creating new fat, which could be a big help if you're struggling with cravings.
And then on the stimulant side of things, we have caffeine anhydrous. That's basically pure caffeine. It's known to really ramp up thermogenesis. That's that calorie-burning heat production we were talking about. And of course, caffeine gives you that energy boost and can help you focus better, which could be really helpful if you're working out.
Makes sense. So then we have L-carnitine. That's supposed to help your body transport fat into your cells to be used for energy. And some people say it can even help with muscle recovery after a workout. And last but not least, there's black pepper extract, also called bioperine. Now, this one isn't actually a fat burner itself, but it's supposed to help your body absorb all the other ingredients more effectively. So it basically makes everything else work better.
Yeah, it's like the wingman for all the other ingredients, making sure they can do their job. Now, the thing is, while there might be studies showing that each of these individual ingredients can do certain things, the big question is, how do they all work together in this specific Nutriley formula? And that's where the review gets really interesting, because it points out that there's actually no direct scientific evidence to prove that Nutriley as a whole product does what it claims.
That's a good point.
No.
So let's talk about the science, or maybe more accurately, what the science doesn't say about Nutriley.
Right. The review makes it very clear that while there's research on these ingredients individually, there are no studies that have looked at how effective or safe the entire Nutriley formula is when all these things are combined in these specific amounts. For example, they mention a meta-analysis from 2012 that suggested green tea extract could potentially increase fat burning by as much as 17%.
That sounds pretty impressive, right?
Yeah, it does. It almost makes you want to just ditch the pills and start chugging green tea all day long.
I know, right? But then the review also points out that when it comes to Garcinia cambogia, the studies on its effects on weight loss have been really inconsistent, so it's not a guarantee that it'll work. And for caffeine, the review mentions a study from the Journal of Obesity back in 2010. That study found that caffeine can boost your metabolic rate by about 3 to 11%, which isn't a huge amount, but it's still something.
So we've got some promising hints from the individual ingredients, but the big takeaway is that there's no solid proof that Nutriley itself lives up to the hype. Exactly. And the review even brings up the concern that some of these ingredients might be underdosed, meaning they might not be present in high enough amounts to actually make a difference. Dosage is super important with supplements. It's not enough to just have the right ingredients. You need enough of them to actually see results.
Okay, that makes sense. So shifting gears a bit, what kind of benefits are people actually reporting after using Nutriley? And what could theoretically happen based on what we know about these ingredients, even if we don't have studies on the complete Nutriley formula?
Well, based on the user feedback in the review and what we know about how these ingredients are supposed to work,
Yeah.
there are a few potential benefits. The thermogenic effect, which is mainly from the caffeine and may be boosted a bit by the green tea extract, could lead to slightly faster fat loss for some people.
So it seems like their rapid fat burner claim could have some merit, at least in theory.
Yeah. And the Garcinia cambogia, if it works the way it's supposed to, might help reduce your appetite. So it could be a bit easier to stick to a calorie deficit, which is basically eating fewer calories than you burn. That's the foundation of any weight loss plan. And of course, the caffeine will probably give you a noticeable energy boost, which could be a plus for some people, especially if it helps them power through their workouts. And finally, the combined effect of all these ingredients could potentially increase your overall metabolism, so you might burn a few more calories even when you're just resting.
So it sounds like we're talking about a bunch of small potential advantages rather than some dramatic body transformation.
That's a good way to put it. Now, it's also important to consider the potential downsides. What about the safety concerns and side effects that the review mentioned?
Right. Well, since it's a stimulant-based product, the review talks about some common side effects that you often get with caffeine. Things like feeling jittery anxious. Some people reported digestive issues like nausea or even diarrhea. And if you take it too late in the day, it can definitely mess with your sleep, which is not good.
Yeah.
Then more seriously, some people reported heart palpitations, which is definitely a red flag. You want to be really careful if you experience that.
Absolutely. And the review is very clear about who should probably just avoid Nutriley altogether.
Oh.
That includes pregnant or breastfeeding women,
Yeah.
anyone with a heart condition,
Yeah.
and anyone who knows they're sensitive to stimulants like caffeine. It's not for everyone. And for some people, the risks might outweigh the potential benefits.
So, based on this deep dive, who do you think Nutriley might actually be a good fit for?
Well, the review suggests it might be most suitable for men and women who are already actively trying to lose weight. And maybe they're hitting a plateau or struggling with those last few pounds of stubborn fat. It might be more helpful for people who already have a solid foundation of healthy eating and regular exercise. And it's definitely important that you can handle caffeine without any major problems.
And on the flip side, who should probably steer clear of Nutriley?
The review says it's definitely not recommended for people who are just starting out with weight loss and haven't really established those healthy habits yet. So if you're not exercising regularly and your diet isn't great, this probably isn't the right product for you. And it's definitely not for anyone looking for a magic bullet. You know, that idea that you can just pop a pill and the weight will melt away without any effort, it's not how it works.
So if you do decide to try Nutriley, what's the best way to use it?
The review says to take 2 capsules a day, ideally 1 in the morning and 1 in the early afternoon. To avoid any sleep problems from the caffeine, they also really emphasize drinking plenty of water throughout the day. And this is crucial. The review stresses that for the best results, you need to combine Nutriley with a calorie-controlled diet and regular exercise. It's meant to be a supplement to a healthy lifestyle, not a replacement for it. So the key is to create a situation where you're burning more calories than you're consuming.
And how long does it usually take to start seeing any results?
The review says some people might notice an energy boost within the first week or two, which is probably from the caffeine. But for actual visible fat loss, they say it typically takes about 4 to 8 weeks of consistent use. And of course, that's assuming you're also following a healthy diet and exercising regularly.
Now, there are tons of weight loss supplements out there. How does Nutriley compare to some of the other popular options?
Well, the review actually compares Nutriley to 2 other well-known fat burners, Lean Bean and FinQ. It describes Nutriley as mainly a thermogenic fat burner, so it's really focused on those stimulants, especially caffeine. Lean Bean, on the other hand, is more of an appetite suppressant, and it doesn't have any stimulants, so it might be a better choice if you're sensitive to caffeine, but you won't get that same energy boost. And then FinQ is described as more of a multi-action supplement. It has a moderate amount of caffeine, and it's designed to provide more comprehensive weight loss support.
So that's a good overview of how they stack up. What about the real-world experiences of people who have actually used Nutriley? What did the customer reviews say?
The review highlights a mix of experiences, which is pretty typical for these types of products. Some people reported losing a significant amount of weight in a few weeks. They said they felt more energetic and had fewer cravings. But there were also negative reviews, people who said they felt jittery and anxious or didn't lose any weight even after using it for a month. So it really seems like the results can vary quite a bit from person to person.
Okay, so if you're thinking about buying Nutriley, where are the best places to get it? And where should you be careful?
The review recommends buying directly from the official Nutriley website. That's usually the safest way to make sure you're getting the real product. And they might have discounts or special offers. Amazon is also a decent option because you can read verified reviews from other customers. And you might find it in some physical stores like GNC or Vitamin Shop. But the review really warns against buying from places like eBay or Facebook because there's a much higher risk of getting a fake product. And you really don't know what you're getting in those cases.
So after digging into all of this, what's the overall verdict from the review? Is Nutriley Rapid Fat Burner something worth trying?
Well, the review's conclusion's a bit nuanced. They say that Nutriley might be a good option for you. If you know you respond well to stimulants, you're already eating healthy and exercising regularly, and you're just looking for a little extra help with fat loss. But they emphasize that it's not going to do much if you're not willing to put in the work, or if you're hoping for effortless weight loss. The review gives Nutriley a rating of 7.5 out of 10, which suggests it's a decent product but not some miracle solution.
And they also answer some frequently asked questions, right? What were some of the key things they addressed?
Yeah. One important point is to manage your expectations about how much weight you can actually lose. The review says a realistic goal when using Nutriley, along with diet and exercise, is about 1 to 2 pounds per week. They also strongly recommend not taking it at night because of the caffeine. It'll probably mess with your sleep. And they mention that while Nutriley itself isn't FDA approved, most dietary supplements aren't, but the individual ingredients are generally recognized as safe.
So to sum it all up, Nutriley Rapid Fat Burner seems like it could be a helpful tool for some people, especially those who are already living a healthy lifestyle and can handle stimulants. But it's not a magic pill, and there are potential side effects to be aware of.
Exactly. It really comes down to understanding your own body, how sensitive you are to stimulants, and how committed you are to those fundamental healthy habits. Like eating a balanced diet and exercising regularly is like this. Nutriley might give you a little extra push, but you still have to do the work.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. This deep dive into the Nutriley review really shows how important it is to be realistic about what supplements can and can't do. It makes you think about what really matters when it comes to achieving your health goals. Oftentimes, it's not about finding a quick fix in a bottle. It's about making consistent, healthy choices day in and day out. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we encourage you to keep learning and asking questions about the things that affect your health. Maybe next time we can explore the role of sleep in weight management, another area where there are no shortcuts, but where building those healthy habits can make a huge difference.
I'm in. That's a really important topic and one that deserves a closer look.
Awesome. Well, until then, stay curious and keep those questions coming.
See you next time.